Hello, this is my first look at new stuff from LEGO Ninjago Season 12. Over here, most of the stuff you're looking at on the screen is the Empire Dragon set, and over on the left is Cole's speeder car, which comes with just these two figures. Let's look at the big thing first. This season's theme takes us kind of into a cyberverse where we're going into a game world, so everything is a little bit retro and very digital and supposed to look electronic, a little bit on the cyberpunk side, I would say, with just slightly more modern flavors and themes with some of the specific things. There are some new molds that have been introduced for this season, such as these winglet pieces, which you can see from the underside are actually pretty decent in size, and those can be used as very, very large blades if you want. This dragon has some Technic pieces on it, a lot of just regular system pieces, and a combination with some CCBS or creature and creature building system parts that all go together. It's a little bit on the skeletal side, but it is pretty sizable when you compare this to the size of just a regular, plain, boring minifigure. You know, it's not even coming up to the knee. And yeah, this has knees, but they're not able to bend. The articulation that you get here, starting, I guess, from the tail, since we're looking at it, is, you know, lots of ball joints in the tail itself, so that's able to move all over the place. These are these ratcheted joints that have a lot of stiffness in them, so that's able to go in and out, forward and back, and then you have ball joints for the feet. Feet are done a little bit differently from things that I've seen before. It's not too many pieces, but actually it looks kind of interesting. And then for the front legs, it's a similar thing. Same type of joints are available there. Ball joint down here for the ankle. Everything's able to hold itself up pretty well. The neck has a couple points of articulation. You can bring it up and down here, and then the head itself is on a ball joint, and it just has some limitations. It won't go down all the way, but you know, you can kind of rotate it around. That is a printed piece underneath there. It's printed on both sides, just like they've done for some other recent dragons. It's a 2x2 brick printed on both sides. You can open up the mouth like so. You can close it up. That greenish looking color is teal, the recently resurrected color. And then you have just kind of the ears or horn things. It's really like ears. You can move those in and out just a little bit. And maybe this is more like a horn, and that can be brought up and down. This has a couple of shooters. There are stud shooters here. You can angle those independently. They kind of look like pauldrons or shoulder armor, but they are on ball joints, so you can rotate them around, one on either side. See, this one's moved out of the way a little bit. This is supposed to be like a windscreen here. And then the pilot stands or sits, but in this case, this one can only stand in the cockpit, which has controls there. That's just a sticker. And taking the figure out, you can see it just stands on some studs, and this is a little bit open, so there's a little bit hollow around some of these spots. But that's pretty much it for this dragon itself. There's the whole thing, and you know, it's intended to be on four legs. With the really, really short rear legs, it's not intended to stand very well, but you can get it to stand because it does have enough friction in those joints, and there's enough support, especially with the help of the tail, to get this to stand up. And there's what that looks like. So again, a bit skeletal, a bit skinny, but fairly long, or done this way, fairly tall. This is Emperor Unagami, who I'm assuming is the main bad guy, so an important one to get. He introduces brand new molds for the hair, the beard, and also the pauldrons. The hairpiece is dual molded, so the white and the red are two different plastics. That is semi-soft, you know, not super rubbery, but a little bit soft, so it will not break too easily. And the printing goes around the back for the body, and that includes the torso, as well as the leg robe kind of piece, which is the exact height of a regular set of minifig legs. So that all works pretty well, and it has consistency to it, to be sure. And there's what he looks like with everything removed, and he does have an alternate face. And this one, to me, looks a lot like Darth Maul, but I'm assuming that they're just doing the kind of, you know, good and bad, or normal and infected kind of thing. So he's got two modes, and this is his most mean, most evil, and most dangerous mode. Here's Digi Lloyd, and I had to zoom out a bit because of all the stuff that he has on, including the flag or banner on his back, which is showing a projection of his current life status. So that's his health bar that's projected up above him back there, and that's just attached onto this new scabbard and pauldron piece that has an extra attachment for a bar at the back of it. He gets 2 katanas in the bright spring green color, and this is a new piece for the hilt for the weapon there. It's dual molded with white and black to represent the look of a game controller, but you just hold it this way and then you can attach things to it. I will show you more pieces that are included in that kind of frosted trans neon greenish yellow color. Here's the figure just by itself though, and you can clearly see one arm is just that bright spring green color, and you can see the rest of this version of his face, and then he also has an alternate face which is just a more normal one, and there's a pretty good print on the back of that torso as well. Here's Digi Kai, who has almost an identical setup, just the different colors for him, and also a different blade that is attached to his hilt. Right now, of course, obviously the headgear pieces for this season are new again, and also dual molded, so you get the one primary color and then the white, and then there's additionally a print on top of that. Otherwise, yeah, this one's pretty much set up the same, so there's nothing else dramatically different to see here. And here's what it looks like with everything removed. The printing work again is pretty good. The white even on the torso has decent opacity to it, not so good on the legs, I'd say. And then here's the alternate face, which is probably not as generic, not as useful in as many different scenarios because it's so expressive and has that one specific emotion. The set includes this one weapon or power-up stand, and it has within it one of this season's collectibles that is called a Kitana. It is a specialized weapon that also acts as a, I'm assuming, digital key for probably unencrypting something that's important to ultimately win the game. And you will see this piece in multiple colors throughout different sets. It can be held from the end. As you can see, there's a bar shape at the end for sticking it into a slot to represent, using it as a key, or you can use it as an actual weapon, as a blade. And obviously this is dual molded, which is always nice to see. Now there are a ton of spare parts in this set because they include a full pack of the modern Ninjago weapon parts just molded into this trans neon greenish yellow. So they only use 2 of those pieces in the official set, so all these are left over and very useful. You also get a couple of spare bright spring green regular katanas with the square guards on them, and this extra stuff. Now there's not a lot to the Cole's speeder car set because it's just a little 4+ set with a total of 52 pieces, and previously this would have been called a Ninjago Juniors set. So you get a car, which is pretty basic because again, it's in the 4+ line, so the whole chassis is one piece, and you just stick the wheels on there, handful of decoration pieces. That is a print. That's one of the great things about the 4+ line and just the younger targeted stuff in general. They give you these really nice printed pieces, little suggestion of a Nintendo style there without getting into too much trouble, hopefully, and it just holds a single figure in there, and just some basic details. I actually like the offset tires, the staggered tires, and this rolls just fine and everything. So, it just kind of does its job as a basic toy. What I don't like about this, though, is that these little pieces at the front and at the back can relatively easily get broken off if you're just playing with it, just grabbing the thing. So probably a lot of kids, after not much time, will simply leave these off entirely. The figure here is Digi Cole, who does not have any of his add-on armor pieces or anything. He just has the new hood or headgear piece and none of the special stuff except for the Kitana there. So they do include one color of the Kitana and one of the collectibles. It's nice to get one of the collectibles in a particularly cheap set, inexpensive set. The print on this is not that great in my opinion. The legs, especially on this one that I got, are not printed well. The orange is particularly bad. And just, I think the design takes away a lot of the brightness of the Cole character. He doesn't have a different colored arm. He doesn't have too much of his orange or what used to be brown or whatever, Just, he looks almost like he could be just a generic bad guy, in my opinion. And kind of like just like a Mr. E kind of thing to me. I don't know, he just looks like he could be generic. The actual bad guy in this set, though, has plenty of visual flair on him and is interesting. The primary color there is sand green, and then it's contrasted against flame yellowish orange or orangish yellow color. And then he has that special hilt, the game controller hilt, dual molded in black and red. That looks pretty cool. The name of this character is Howner. He is a rat, a digital rat avatar thing. Okay. We'll see how that works out actually in the story, but you can see it's a humanoid rat with some sort of visor on that I'm assuming is a set of VR goggles or something like that. And he has just a single horn up on top. There is no actual minifig head underneath there. That is just a single dual molded piece with then the horn piece attached to it. And yeah, I just find this to be interesting. You know, at least it's different. I do kind of wish there was one additional color, something to separate the torso from the head. I'm assuming they're trying to say that the skin tone of the character is that sand green, but it feels to me like he has a shirt on. I mean, you're seeing musculature right there. You're seeing edges of ribs and everything, but I just don't quite feel that personally. I mean, he's got armor on the back, like an armor plate, okay, but there's just something that is missing about this design to me. I feel like it needs a little bit more distinct printing or some other color or something on the arms, something. He rides on a hoverboard, which is just a basic longboard piece or surfboard piece, I think, actually, with a couple of neon, trans neon greenish yellow parts underneath to represent energy and, you know, the fact that it's supposed to be floating. And then he has this kind of plasma chain, I guess, something like that, electro chain, something in the digital world that allows him to attach to things. And he's going to try to steal away the Kitana, and you can attach this onto the car so that, you know, he's kind of being dragged along by it, or he's trying to get himself to it. And it's just that kind of thing. Pretty straightforward, but it works. You know, you can actually pull him along, although he does want to fall forward. There we go. Got it. And that right there is the spare piece for the Cole speeder car set. That's it. The Cole speeder car set is $10 for a car and a couple of figures. And at least one of the figures is interesting to me. It has interesting parts, and the car includes a very large base part and a nice exclusive and decently large printed piece as well. So I think the value here is pretty good if you like what you see. And I think that even some folks who are a little bit older than the target age range for this will be able to appreciate this because of its components, especially Howner and also that printed piece right there and the inclusion of the Kitana. You know, there's good stuff for older fans of Ninjago Season 12 in this small, you know, young-oriented set. The Empire Dragon is $30 US for 286 pieces, and I don't think that is a coincidence. I think whoever designed this specifically added one or two pieces or removed one or two pieces to get it to 286 to be a reference to the old IBM PC 286 DX AT computer systems. My parents had one of those back when I had an XT. It was just an 8088. But anyway, yeah, just a little historical Digi Universe computer kind of reference there. But I think the value for this is very good because it comes with 3 good figures with a full set of accessories and plenty of extra accessories even. And the dragon itself is very respectable in its size for that price. Yeah, I think all of these figures are good and well set up, and you know, there are plenty of different options for how you can use them between the different expressions, the different faces they have, and all the accessories and everything. There's a lot that I think you can do with the set. I think there's a lot of value that you can get out of this set without changing it, without adding anything to it. Again, specifically what I like personally least about this dragon is this area right in here. I don't like the fact that they left it hollow around the, I guess it's kind of a rib cage kind of structure. And to me, the front third of the dragon just looks really good. It looks very finished, looks like it has a theme to it, and it just makes sense to me. The back third and more of it also looks fine. You know, it's a little bit smaller, but that's okay. You know, things can just taper off in general. This is a little bit wonky here, but It's no big deal. It's just that center section right there that I feel could have used a few more pieces to cover up the side right here and to thicken up kind of the waist area of it, the waist and stomach area of it. But that's, I think, is slightly nitpicking, you know. Overall, again, the value is what this is all about, and I think that's where this does shine, because, you know, for 30 bucks, this is pretty sizable, and then you also get two well set up figures with plenty of accessories. This guy is special as well. Even this is pretty cool. So yeah, good job there overall by Lego. Check out the combined build videos for these two sets. I did the two together as pure builds and also as speed builds. So if you want to see either of those, they are live now. You can see them on my respective other channels. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again right here very soon.